Holy crap. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. That's how you describe Monday night. Holy crap if you're a New York Islander fan, it's deja vu, holy crap. Holy crap if you're a Knicks fan, you witnessed, and this is what I feel good about. If you are 35 and under, you're sick and tired of hearing about the LJ 4-point play. If you're 35 and under, you're sick of hearing about the 90s. If you are 35 and under, damn it, if you're any age Knicks fan, you got your moment now. You've got something now that you will remember for the rest of time. That sequence last night, Tiki, between the Islanders collapsing, basically they played the last 25 minutes like they wanted the clock to hit triple zeros. Between the Islanders blowing a 3-goal lead, blowing the lead late after that timeout by Carolina, and then going behind, and then fights break out, and then an empty netter, combined with the Knick chaos of the last 27 seconds. Last night in New York sports is one of those nights that will live forever.
Yeah, happy Passover, everybody.
Happy Passover, yes.
Because a lot of Knicks fans probably weren't watching it, or at least the Jewish Knicks fans weren't watching it. Dude, this was one of those games where if they lose, the only thing we're going to talk about is how bad Jalen Brunson has been in these first two games.
Correct.
Because his 16 for 55, whatever the number is, it's
29% from the field, 16% from three, 37% true shooting percentage.
It is like, what in the hell happened to this should be in the MVP conversation star that the Knicks have been leaning on for the last month or so of the regular season and into the playoffs? And you almost start to say he just doesn't have that clutch gene in the playoffs. And I hate putting that number, that moniker out there for him, because this is what we say about our other star in this country, in this city. Talking about Aaron Judge. In the postseason, he doesn't show up. I don't want to believe that that's Jalen Brunson. But the reason that we don't have to is that this team, I mean, Loogie's out and, bless him because his grandmother passed away, but he's right. This team has so many dogs and dudes on it that they don't need Jalen Brunson to be perfect. They just need him not to be terrible. And he's been close to terrible, but this team has so many dudes on it that don't get flustered when their star isn't showing up. That's why this Knicks team is so good.
If you would have told me, or I would have told you, the New York Knicks are going to protect home court, they're going to be up 2-0 on the Philadelphia 76ers, and Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey would be clearly the two best players on the floor. Mm-hmm. And Jalen Brunson would struggle the way he has struggled over the first two games. And I would have told you the Knicks would be up 2-0. You'd have called me a damn liar. And that's why I get the concerns around Jalen Brunson. We'll discuss it. It'll be out there. Mm-hmm. But if I am a New York Knicks fan this afternoon, 16 hours removed from that epic moment at Madison Square Garden, I don't give a rat's ass.
It's not the story.
I'm on cloud nine because what happened in the last 27 seconds of that game, in conjunction with what happened in the final few minutes of the Islander game, and for those that share those two teams, for those that are Knick Islander fans, and I happen to know one of them, I have no idea what your emotions are today. So we'll hear from the Knick Islander fan throughout the program, and obviously those that are just Knick fans and just Islander fans. But when you look at the last 30 seconds, and you look at all of the things that had to happen for the Knicks to win this game, it truly is one of the most miraculous 30 seconds you'll ever see. Mm-hmm. Let's go through it, because I don't want anything to be forgotten about these 30 seconds. Number one, I told her that too, by the way. Let's start off with Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry goes to the free throw line and misses his second free throw. Yeah. That was, maybe you didn't realize it at the time, a consequential miss. And then you start to think about Joel Embiid's 4 missed free throws in the first half of the game, which he never does. Right. So Kyle Lowry misses a free throw. Don't forget that. Dante DiVincenzo, who's going to get all the love for the three-pointer, how about the fact that he bailed Jalen Brunson's ass out?
After he turned it over.
Jalen Brunson turned the ball over because of a really good defensive play by the aforementioned Kyle Lowry. Jalen's on the ground, the ball is loose, and Dante kind of sneakily gets it. And they're able to reset the offense. That's number 2. Number 3, Jalen Brunson showed hesitation, but finally put up a 3. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I like to call it the shooter's roll, because eventually shooters will get that roll, or the bounce. The shooters bounce, as he hits a three very, very luckily. And then you've got the Sixers choking. You know, I once said losers lose. Losers find ways to lose. Last night was Exhibit A. Because if you are Nick Nurse and you want to call a timeout, call a timeout. You didn't call a timeout.
Yeah, he
put his hands in the air.
He half-assed called the timeout.
He half-assed it. Number two, the Knicks are harassing underneath the basket. Kyle Lowry gives you one of the worst inbound passes you'll ever see. And you see Josh Hart mugging, Jalen Brunson mugging. And you know what? The official didn't blow the whistle. Good for freaking them. I know they're crying about that down in Philadelphia. Let them play. Let them play. Did Jalen grab a jersey? Maybe. Maybe did. Let him play. And then Tyrese Maxey, and this is the difference between the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers, because the Sixers may have the top-end talent, the Knicks have the brains. Because Tyrese Maxey, who was him last night, I give him a lot of credit. That's your Jordan flu game, Tyrese. When the ball is knocked away and you're on the ground, that ain't on Nick Nurse. That's on your ass. Call a timeout. He don't call a timeout. And the Knicks keep playing. And they force the turnover. And after Dante's miss, I know this was your favorite part of the sequence, Ihart with as important and as clutch an offensive rebound as you'll ever see.
Right. Blame that on Joel Embiid, 76er fans.
Yes.
He was standing outside of the paint trying to, I don't know who was thinking he was boxing out or just thinking the ball would come straight to him. And Ihart astutely goes right down the open paint and gets the rebound. Humongous rebound.
Humongous rebound. And then watch this next sequence. OG Anunoby. Don't look at the box score. You know better. OG with the right pass, the perfect pass, going top of the key to DiVincenzo, who did not give a rat's ass about his miss a few seconds earlier, and cold-bloodedly drills that three. Now, if you think the story ends there, you ain't paying attention. Because the most clutch moment hadn't happened yet. The Isaiah Hartenstein block of Tyrese Maxey. Nick Nurse drew up a brilliant play. He basically said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to go half-court offense. I'm going to go backcourt to Maxey, and I'm going to let him go downhill, and I'm going to do what I know the Knicks can't stop. Tyrese Maxey can get to the basket whenever the hell he wants, and they won't stop him. And guess what he did? He got to the basket, and there's Ihart with the block. And you know what annoys me? Not annoys me. I just love underrated moments. That's the moment.
Of course it is.
And it's forgotten about because of the crazy sequence a few seconds earlier. Totally understand why. I get it. But how about the clutchness of Ihart, who what he gave to the Knicks last night was more offense than defense, yet he made the defensive play of the game.
So this game, to me, comes down to something that Tom Thibodeau doesn't get enough credit for. Because we've seen throughout the course of this season guys playing a ton of minutes. A ton of minutes. Now, maybe that's what's ailing Jalen Brunson right now because he had the injury, missed some time, so his conditioning got off a little bit. Now he's back, and his legs maybe a little heavy. He's short on some things. Who knows, right? But when you look at Josh Hart playing every single second of this game, you see Ihart, as you were just mentioning, one, getting a huge offensive rebound and then getting back to the other side of the court and making a huge block. That's legs, right? That's conditioning. And I think it gets discounted too much in the NBA. But anybody who's played pickup basketball, like you and I, you could be in good shape. We could do it for 5 minutes. That's probably about it. I remember doing a Harlem Wizards game with the local school in Florham Park, and we were just casually playing basketball. I was shot, and I'm in good shape. I run marathons. I was dead. This Knicks team is so conditioned. That's their X factor. And so when games get down to it at the end of it in crunch time, they have the legs. You see it. Right? And the 76ers don't. Tyrese Maxey even. Like that play that Ihart blocked, he scores on that 90 out of 100 times. 95 out of 100 times, Tyrese Maxey. But he was just a little bit short. Just got a little bit too for granted, and Ihart was able to knock it away or swat it away, and OG got the rebound. So, like, there's little things that we can take away from this. Like the the shot that DiVincenzo made, the rebounds, the Jalen Brunson, OG, etc. But to me, the underlying reason that they won this game is their better condition, right? And it shows up in games that get intense like that down the stretch.
Well, there's moments, too. I mean, there was balls being ripped away. Mm-hmm. We saw the Knicks getting loose balls. We saw the hustle on that turnover that Maxey had. You're right. And that was one of the differences. And look, the final 30 seconds of last night's game, and it's only been 16 hours, so I understand we're still in the moment. That's one of those sequences you're never going to forget. No. If you're at Madison Square Garden, you're never going to forget it. If you were at home duly watching the Islanders collapse and the Knicks come back, you're never going to forget it. But let me say this from experience. They better win this series because LJ's 4-point play, and the reason I bring that up is that's the last great moment in New York Knicks history. If you really think about it, if you look back at the last 25 years and all their playoff excursions, whether it was last year against Cleveland in the series against Miami, whether it was the first round against Atlanta, whether it was the push in 2013 to get to the second round before Indiana stopped them in Game 6, when you look at all of the postseason runs they've had, not many, over the last 25 years, nothing has come close to what we saw last night. And I'd be the first to tell you that. Last night was 1999 all over again. Last night was 90s Knicks. And what I'm happy about for the younger Knicks fan is you're sick and tired of hearing about the 90s Knicks because you weren't around for it. You don't want to hear about it anymore. You want your own 90s Knicks moments, and you had that. But let me tell you a quick story. And this is not trash talk because I don't know how you can wake up today or go to work this afternoon and not believe your team's going to win this series. I don't know how you feel that way if you're a Knicks fan, because I'd feel that way if I'm a Knicks fan. Yeah, you did your business by winning 2 at home. Yeah, Jalen Brunson's been a mess. But the fact that you won these 2 games the way you did, I'd have supreme confidence I'm going to win this series. But here's the damn truth. There have been great moments in New York sports, moments that make you come out of your chair, moments that you say, oh, this is the greatest. And then if you lose, they become footnotes. They become footnotes. They don't matter anymore. Andy Chavez's catch against the Cardinals in Game 7. Oh, I'll give you a basketball one. Kevin Durant at Barclays Center, Game 5 against the Bucks, their last postseason win. You know why that crap doesn't matter? Because they didn't win the series. So for this to truly be, for the younger Knicks fan, your Larry Johnson 4-point play moment, you have to seal the deal. Because here's the deal with LJ's 4-point play. That was in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers. Do you think for a second, if they don't win that series, if Indiana wins that series, do you think for a second anybody gives a rat's ass about an LJ 4-point play? Absolutely not. So this was amazing. This was epic. This was a pinch-yourself moment. But the only way it matters, the only way it lives in history, and I've said this before, this ain't the first time I've said something like this, you have to win the series. Otherwise, it's a fart in the wind. Do you feel me, Teak?
Of course. I mean, it goes without saying. Big moments only last if there's a positive story that follows it. But, I mean, this is the type of win, though, that propels a team. And we said it after Game 1. They're doing this without Jalen Brunson playing good basketball. So you can't feel anything but ridiculously optimistic about your chances. Additionally, the 76ers, whenever they're down 2-0 or 0-2, I should say, they don't win.
They have never won a series in their franchise's history when down 0-2.
And so
history is on your side. Now Tiki cares about history, by the way.
No, I don't care about history, really. I'm just stating that this is the obvious. Now, what does that mean? I mean, nothing. The Knicks got to go steal one and then finish this thing in 5. Actually, probably not. Don't we want it to go to 6? Because we're going to go to the game.
If you're a Knicks fan, you're not thinking about going to the game or we going to the game. You just want to finish this. What are you talking about?
You want this thing done in 5, right? Seriously. I mean, you would love to sweep them, but you want this thing done in at least 5. The last thing you want to do is go back to Philadelphia and have to either tie or have them tie. And so it's one of those situations where now is the time to capitalize. You've gotten away without Jalen Brunson being a big part of the success. Now, he was the leading scorer, so it's hard to say that, but his efficiency has been terrible. But if you can win and not have him be the guy, just think when he does start scoring 40. Like if he scores 40 or 30 or plays halfway efficiently like he was at the end of the regular season, this is not even a game.
Well, no. I see. This is the part I disagree with. Every game is a different story. Every game is a different sequence. And that's why, for that reason, it's why Jalen Brunson's struggles would not concern me. Because if I'm a Knicks fan, here's what I see, and here's the only thing that matters. You won twice. That's it. You won twice. You played 2 games against Philadelphia, and you beat them twice. I don't care how. I don't care why. Yeah, there are footnotes to that make it more impressive. Like I said at the top, if I would have told you the Knicks were going to win twice and Jalen Brunson was going to be as quiet as he's been and Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey would get theirs, I'd be stunned. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They've won twice. Now, Jalen Brunson breaks out in Game 3. There are other things that may not go your way. Josh Hart may not make 4 threes in a game in back-to-back performances. So I don't think it's as simple as that.
I don't think he's going to have to.
But the truth is, it doesn't matter. They've won twice. And so anything else that concerns you out of Game 2, anything else that concerns you out of Game 1, just like anything that makes you think, oh, if Jalen scores 40, we'll sweep him, none of that matters. Every game is a completely different story. And in this story, you've won twice, and you've done it with your role players stepping up and you winning the first 2 games at home when you didn't have the 2 best players on the floor. That doesn't even make NBA logic sense. NBA logic doesn't fit that. The 2 best players on the floor were on Philly, and you beat them twice.
Yeah, it goes against what everybody's always said, meaning you got to have a superstar, and not necessarily a superstar as it's determined by the NBA and the MVP voting and first-team All-NBA and things, but you got to have the guy that can score 30, 35, and the 76ers have both of those guys in this series, and the Knicks don't, yet they're still winning.
And I'll tell you why. And I know this will piss off some of you older fans, but you have to hear me out on this. I'll tell you why, if the Knicks do win this series, and right now it's tough not to believe in them, why last night's sequence is actually better than the LJ 4-point play. And we'll get to that coming up, plus your calls, 877-337-6666. Plus, we'll do a careful study of the double bang. Mike Breen whipped out a double bang last night. Was last night's moment worthy of a double bang? We'll give you another edition of Posted and Toasted at 3:30. We'll hear about the top 20 New York draft picks that just missed our top 20 list. And, of course, more of your reaction to what was a horrible night and a great night, depending on your persuasion. An absolutely brutal gut punch for the Islander fan and euphoria for the Knicks fan. 877-337-6666. We are live from the Town Fair Tire Studios.